थोड़ा सा खालती है. Everyone can come forward. Yes, the ones who are sitting back also can come forward. Yeah, adjust करा. तो जास्ती स्पेस आहे ती कमी आहे. Okay, let's begin. So we'll chant this or sing this wonderful bhajan and we'll start today's session. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai संकीर्तन की श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Please repeat. We'll start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Jnanatimidandhasya. Om Jnanatimidandhasya. Jnananjana Shalakaya. Jnananjana Shalakaya. Chakshurunmilitam Jena. Chakshurunmilitam Jena. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya. Namo Vishnupadaya. Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale. Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta. Swaminiti Namine. Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve. Namaste Saraswate Deve. Gauravani Pracharine. Gauravani Pracharine. निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone for the Saturday evening festival of enlightenment. I flew all the way from Vrindavan. Morning 3 o'clock, I started from there just to give this class. So, how can I miss a Saturday? Last Saturday I missed because I had to go and do arrangements there. So, since everything was over, so I thought let me fly from there. So, today's topic is very nice. We're discussing from Gita. A topic was published different, but I am taking a different topic: substance and shadow. We're going to discuss from chapter 15 Bhagavad Gita, first four shlokas, which are very, very complicated. So we'll try to make it as simple as possible and try to understand how deep the verses of Gita are, and also at the same time, how complicated this world is. And we dedicate this presentation to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, because of whose mercy we are able to understand complicated things also in a very, very simple way. So I was in Vrindavan for last 10 to 12 days, and the entire Vrindavan area is crowded like anything every single day. Couple of years back, when I had gone to do some shopping for the lordships, some clothes and some ornaments I had to get. So I was asking the shopkeeper there. He was very old. So I asked him, did you see Prabhupada? He said, yeah, during my time, Swamiji was there. So when I came here, Swamiji was just establishing the temple. Then I asked him, so what difference do you see before Prabhupada's arrival in Vrindavan and after Prabhupada's arrival in Vrindavan? He said, Vrindavan has changed completely. No one would come to this place. But now people from all over the world are coming to this place. From people from Russia, South Africa, US, UK, Australia, everywhere people are coming. And actually we saw that. From all over the world. And in fact, the guest house where we were staying in, there's some people are staying permanently there. And they were Russians. They shifted, winded up everything from Russia, and they've settled here in Vrindavan. This is the miracle that Srila Prabhupada has done. He was staying in Vrindavan. Now, who does not want to stay in Vrindavan in the old age? He was already 70. But he left Vrindavan. But when he was leaving Vrindavan, he took Vrindavan in his heart. He established Vrindavan in every single place all over the world in the form of ISKCON temples, and pulled people to the actual Vrindavan also every single year. The goal of every devotee outside India is at least once in a year, I want to visit Vrindavan. Because it takes a lot of money, you have to travel from there to here. Apna to 2000 mein ho jata. You take a train from here to Mathura and an auto from there to Vrindavan. But then for them, it's like huge amount. They have to spend. So entire year, they save just so that they can go to Vrindavan once in a year. This is the miracle that Srila Prabhupada has done. So let's begin with today's topic. Before that, come forward. I think don't leave any space in between. Our festival of enlightenment has become hit. Every single session, huge crowd. Okay, thank you. So please hear carefully, because today's topic is complicated. If you miss, you'll miss. So don't allow your mind to go here and there. Material world or reflection. This clearly spoken in the first four verses of 15th chapter. Please repeat. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Urdhvamulam Madha Shakham Ashwatham Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Saveda Ved. Someone read the translation
The Supreme Personality of
loudly.
Godhead said, the Supreme
Hey.
Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas.
Okay. We'll recite the other few shlokas also. अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रसृतास्तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रवालः अधश्च मूलान्यनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके. Yeah, someone else can read.
The branches of this tree extend downwards and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. The tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society.
Yes. So these are first two shlokas. Third and fourth, I've just put the translation. Someone else can read.
The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and they surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial.
So these are the four shlokas that we're going to discuss. The main aspects of the shlokas are this. One is, it is talking about a tree, inverted tree. We're going to speak about that. Second, the tree has got tips and leaves and twigs and leaves and tips. And the tree has got some branches which are going upwards and downwards. The subroots also. Banyan tree, have you seen? The roots which come from the top. Subroots. And how to cut this tree. And what is the surrender to the Lord? These are the six aspects that we're going to discuss today. Let's begin with the first one. Material world reflection of the spiritual world. Have you seen any tree upside down? Real one? Means where you have the branches down and roots up? Huh? No. So here we can see, if you stand on the bank, you see it's upside down. The reflection is upside down, right? So there's no tree as such that exists, but the reflection of that we can see, okay, there is something like this existing. So this material world is compared to a tree, which is a reflection, not the actual tree. I repeat, this material world is compared to a reflection of the actual tree. So a reflection will have some properties. So these are the properties. Firstly, reflection is temporary, correct? Second, it will be opposite. We can see that in this image. It appears real. If someone has not seen the actual thing and just sees the reflection, it appears real. And it is dependent on the existence of reality. If the tree is not there, reflection will not be there. Correct? So the acronym is TOAD, TOAD. It's temporary, opposite, appears real, and dependent on the existence of reality. Let's begin with the first one, temporary. The reflection is temporary. Now, let me give you an analogy so that we can understand this more deeper and we can remember this analogy. Now, a person who is not very intelligent, he is standing on the banks of the river or a pond and he's seeing the reflection of the tree, a reflection of a mango tree. A mango season is going on. Juicy mango is reflected on the water. He has not seen the tree. It's a hypothetical situation, but then he has not seen the tree. He's just seeing the reflection. And he's seeing so many mangoes in that. We'll wait for 2 minutes. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. So he has not seen the tree, but he's seeing the reflection of the tree in the water, a pond with a still water. He's seeing all the mangoes there. And looking at those mangoes, his mouth is watering. And he wants those mangoes. Okay, do it again. And he wants those mangoes. Now, there are two things that will happen. First one is he wants those mangoes, so what he will do, he'll jump, right? He'll jump in the water to catch some mangoes. Maybe he'll carry a bag also, you never know. Yes? Now, tell me, very logical, very trivial also. Now, when he jumps in the water, what happens? Huh? What will happen to the reflection? It'll go away. Simple. The first situation is this: medium gets distorted. Now, just imagine the person has jumped with full expectation. I'll get some mangoes from there. But now, when he jumps, he's not seeing anything. So, what will happen? He'll feel dejected. This is exactly what happens in this material world. So, this material world, everyone is searching for some happiness. And they work so hard. At the end, when they don't get it, people feel dejected. They feel sad. The extreme of all this sadness is depression and suicide. So many times this happens. Now, this person, with so much of dejection, he comes out of the water. And then he's standing there. After some time, the water becomes still again. Now, what happens? Huh? Again, he sees the reflection of the tree and the juicy mangoes. And then what happens to him? He's not very intelligent. So he again jumps. Now, see, when he sees a reflection on the still water, what happens? He gets a hope. I will get some mangoes at least now. He gets a hope. And when he gets a hope, what happens? As you all said, he dives again to get some mangoes. But then what happens? The reflection goes away. Again, he is dejected. So here is a very nice cycle which people are stuck into in this material world. First one is anticipation. The person is anticipating, I'll get these mangoes. So whenever I'm saying mango, I'm talking about happiness. Okay? Don't remember mango and start salivating. Yes. So yes, I will get mango. Anticipation. And then the person endeavors for it. Where is he endeavoring? He is endeavoring in this material world, which is nothing but a reflection, which is temporary. As Bhagavad Gita says, a shashvatam. And after endeavoring, when he doesn't get, he gets into frustration. The best part of this material world is what, the person, he jumps and then he's not getting it. He comes out, he sees the water is still, he again sees the reflection, he thinks, maybe I jumped from this angle, so I didn't get. Let me jump from this angle. And he goes to other angle and jumps from there. He doesn't get. Maybe I should go to the other side and jump from there. Every single person in this world is trying to do this. Every single person. He gets it or he does not get it, and then he thinks, no, I'll try from this side. Now see, history is the proof that in this material world, no one has got permanent, real happiness. Do you all agree with me?
Yes.
I'm not pessimistic. I'm a very optimistic person. But then this is the fact of life. No one. But you know what? Every single person feels, पहले के लोग बुद्धू थे, दिमाग नहीं था ज़्यादा. Now I've got smartphone and smart intelligence. And I will show how to jump. I will show how to jump. They did not know how to jump. I'll ask Chat GPT and get to know how to jump. From which angle to jump. Now, it is such a very important thing to note. Everyone in this material world has logged to get happiness. Everyone. Hmm. But then what to do? This reflection is temporary. Anyone who jumps into it, it will go away. And the person is stuck into the cycle. Anticipation, endeavor, frustration. After some time, when he calms down a bit, again anticipation, again frustration, again endeavor, again frustration. So the first aspect of the material world, it is temporary. Yes? And Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, twice he says, he uses two words in two different shlokas. Once he says, ashashvatam, which means temporary. In another shloka, he uses another word called anityam. Anityam. Nityam means permanent. Anityam means temporary. So that's how he uses two words and he describes this material world as temporary. Next one. So T, temporary. O, opposite. Now, as we said, the reflection is the opposite of, or it's the perverted version of the actual thing. Hmm. So we talked about the tree. Urdhva mula adha shakham. Urdhva mula. Urdhva means up, mula means root. The roots are up. Adha, down. Shakha means branches. So branches are down, roots are up. Now, we're talking about spiritual world versus the material world. Because this material world is nothing but the reflection of the spiritual world. Now, these are the five aspects which are there. Let's understand both in the spiritual world and the material world about these five aspects. First one, manifestation of the Lord. Now, spiritual world, purified personalities, fully spiritual in their consciousness, in their existence, they're able to perceive the Lord all the time. But when it comes to us in this material world, the question that people ask is, where is God? Show me God. This is the common question with atheistic people ask. Where is God? Show me God. And people are so confident about themselves. अरे भाई जब light off हो जाता है अंधेरा हो जाता है you cannot see what is there in the room and you foolish person you think you will be able to see with these eyes a spiritual personality. Can you imagine the foolishness of people of this world? No. And when we go, when we like in Vrindavan, there are monkeys who are trained, to remove specks. After all, Krishna's monkeys, no? And it happened with so many of our devotees. We were 300 in number. And so many of them had specs. And if they remove, they cannot see. Yes, yesterday evening, I was going to take darshan of the temple. I was walking like this, and two of our devotees were coming like this from the other side. They were not wearing specs. And they looked at me, Saffron, and they were looking like this. And they came close to me. Oh, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Yes. So we cannot. But these monkeys, what they were doing there, they'll remove the specs. एकदम आराम से they'll come from behind. They'll hold one hand here, hold the shoulder, and आराम से remove and take it away. And these monkeys are trained, by the shopkeepers around. Only if you give them a fruity, they'll throw the chashma. It was an activity all the time that we were doing. Go get a fruity, throw, and then get the specs. So now and then those devotees were so frustrated, whose specs were stolen, because they're not able to see. So our eyes, if you properly analyze, there's so much of limitation. But still, people of this world are so very confident, overconfident and over smart to say, if God is there, ask him to come in front of me. तेरे बाप का नौकर है, asked to come in front of me. So it's not that we cannot perceive the Lord, we can, but then we need to have some qualification. And what is that? We have to become spiritual. See, as of now we are material. We have to become spiritual to witness a spiritual personality. As simple as that, right? Like if I say, can I use a litmus paper to measure the distance or measure some equipment in a physics laboratory? Like stupidity. And if I say that, can I use a microscope to measure the length? Obviously not. So chemistry, physics, and biology, these three different departments which are there. If we replace or exchange the equipments, we cannot do the job, right? So how can we use this equipment, which is on the material platform, to perceive something on the spiritual platform? Simple, simple. The only thing is we have to purify our eyes and make it spiritual to witness the spiritual personalities. That's the problem in the material world. But spiritual world, completely purified personalities with spiritual eyes to look at the spiritual personality. So that's the first difference, manifestation of the Lord. Second one, duration of existence. It is described. Spiritual world is also called as Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha. Kuntha means,
Anxiety.
yeah, anxiety or misery. Misery of birth, death, old age, and disease. These are the four main problems in this material world: birth, death, old age, and disease. No one wants it, but everybody gets it. That's the fact. If you ask anyone, "तुम मरना चाहेगा?" Externally, you might pose, "Huh, I'm ready." Get a knife and just poke it into his stomach. No one, no one wants to die. No one wants to get deceased. कोविड के टाइम पे थोड़ी सब लोग ऐसे बाहर घूम रहे थे एकदम. So much mask, and then I still remember this was 2020, and again it was my turn. I went to Vrindavan, so for some work. So what happened is no one was going out, and then airports and all, few people were going. You would see people dressed in that full, what do you call it as? PP, PPE kit. And it was so funny at times to see people. And there was a person, I was walking with my trolley, and there was a person in front of me. Little bit I'll go in front and, hey, go behind, go behind. अब पीछे से ढकल रहा है मुझे. He's saying, "Hey, go behind." So we could see in this world, no one wants to get deceased. And who wants to get old? Tell me. 2, 3 white hair, and immediately they color it off. Immediately apply those face creams to not look old. But they will get it for sure. So these are the four real problems of life: birth, death, old age, and disease. And these are called as actually kuntha, or suffering of this world. Vaikuntha means the place which does not have these kuntha. So it is described in the spiritual world because there is no gross body as such, it's only spirit. So it is permanent. In the spiritual world, the duration of existence is permanent, but here this body is temporary. I'm sure we had this session, body and soul, for level 1. Level 2, level 3, I've already gone to next level of understanding of body and soul. So when it comes to material body, it is temporary. So material body takes a birth, it grows, it produces some byproducts, and then it dwindles, and then it mixes with the oblivion. Ram Nam Satya hai at the end. So this is what happens with the body. But when it comes to spirit soul, it is permanent. So that's why we understand in the spiritual world everything is permanent, in the material world everything is temporary. Third one, illumination. This material world is always dark. Like now this light went off. Dark. Why do we need all this? Why do we need a sun? Why do we need these bulbs, and why do we need all this? This material world is dark. This material world is dark externally, and it's dark on the subtle platform also. Naturally, in this material world, people get into ignorance. Naturally. So, like for example, a little bit of space if we give, automatically sleep will come, especially in the Bhagavad Gita class. Yes? Naturally, people want to get into some nonsensical thought process, like illicit sex. This is something which is very, very natural thought process, especially in the youth. Forget about the youth. Even people in the old age. I've spoken many times, right? 70+ year people getting into illicit activities. My God, very difficult to digest. But I've met such people, who are telling. I said, after 50, we have to quit our material activities, only do spiritual activities. That is called as Vanaprastha. So in Hindi, 51 is called as Ekya 1. One matlab kya? Forest. It means go to forest. Enough of your material life. Basically means become a full-time spiritualist. When I said this, one 70-year-old person, Prabhuji, abhi to life chalu hai. I want to enjoy, and you're saying all this. So basically the point is that in the material world, naturally people are in the mode of darkness. But it is described in the spiritual world. Naturally, People are illuminated. The place is illuminated. Therefore, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, he says, Natad bhashayate suryo, na shashanko na pavakaha, yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramamama. Oh Arjuna, in my abode, natad bhashayate suryo, there is no need of Surya, na shashanko na pavakaha. There is no need of the moon. And Prabhupada also writes electricity. So we can connect very nicely. So in this way, there is no need. It's always illuminated. People are also always illuminated because that place is always illuminated with pure goodness. So in this way, we understand it's always illuminated. Fourth one, happiness. Now, when it comes to spiritual world, happiness is increasing at every step. Like for example, see all of you when you come here. Tell me, anywhere do you sit like this down for 1.5 hours? Huh? Never. When the first class happens now for Gita course, when married people come who are like 40 years, 50 years, when they sit down after 1.5 hour, after 1 hour, and then they start dancing and this and that. Here also, obviously, all of us. I always say, Kaliyuga body, Khatara gadi. Yes. So when people come for the first time and when they sit, they are actually surprised about themselves. How did I sit here? Why, Because the knowledge that is there, the wisdom that is coming from Gita is so great that it nourishes the person. The person naturally elevates from the bodily platform to a different platform altogether. And he lives his life for that particular time on that different platform. So even now when he spoke about the illumination part, if you're there in your PG, naturally it's more of ignorance. Even if you want to pick up the beats, you'll pick up the remote of the TV or your laptop or whatever to do time pass. But here, it is so natural. Many people have told this. It is so natural to finish. The rounds are so easily getting finished. In fact, when we go for our spiritual retreats, the ones who have come, it's so natural. Here, one round is so difficult. There, 16 rounds are easily done. Easily done. So naturally, the association of spiritualists gets us into illumination, into pure goodness, and happiness also. We understand. Here, same mantra we are chanting. And in the class also, if you properly analyze the principles discussed are same only. But still, there is a different bliss altogether. Every class I've seen, our boys who keep coming for the sessions, every class, they're so eager and they keep going to the next level of advancement in spiritual life and they're feeling that bliss. देखिए सच्ची बात है अगर मजा नहीं आता तो कोई नहीं आता है सिंपल without getting that kick of happiness from within no one will come here to sit and hear a bald person. Yes, no one for sure. And then our classes are not that light also. Our classes are heavy because we keep the naked truth of life in front of everyone in our classes. But still people come every time, again and again and again, every Saturday. This is a proof that the happiness in spiritual life goes on increasing. Same mantra we are chanting, same Bhagavad Gita we are reading, same concepts we are discussing, but the happiness goes on increasing and increasing and increasing. That's the quality of the spiritual world. But when it comes to material world, it is described. This happiness, unfortunately, Krishna has given the title itself. What is the title of this material world? A stamp is given by Krishna. Dukkhalayam and Ashashvatam. It's a depressing statement, है ना? If you ask someone, if you ask at the door, so what do you expect from these sessions? He says, happiness. And then you say, oh, sorry. Bhagavad Gita says, Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. So the point is, this world is called as Dukkhalayam and it's Ashashvatam. So even if someone gets some happiness, it will not remain for long. Correct? नहीं हो सकता. Impossible, because that world itself is titled as Dukkhalayam. One of my session I was saying, right, that the place where we get Grantha, we call it as Granthalay. The place where we get Bhojan, we call it as. Similarly, the place where we get Dukkha is called as simple. Simple. And what are we searching here? Sukha. And Krishna is saying it's Ashashvatam. And what are we searching for? Shashvat Sukha. This is called as illusion of this world. So this world is called as reflection. Reflection. Yes. And in this world, Padam padam yat vipadam na tesham. At every step there is a danger in this world. किसी को पता नहीं कभी क्या होगा, next what will happen. And in the spiritual world, it is said, Anandam buddhi vardhanam pratipadam. At every step, happiness increases. So this is the contrast between the spiritual realm and the material realm. That is the happiness part. The next one, or the last one, is the attitude. Now, the attitude that is there in the material world, or basically, yeah, let's talk about material world first. The attitude of the material world is, how can I extract? How can I exploit? How can I be happy? How can I enjoy? How can I enjoy? So in Vrindavan, we had gone to a place called Raman Reti. That's full of sand, and that is the place where Krishna and all his gopas would have their nice wrestling pastimes. And we were 300 member devotees, 300 devotees. पता नहीं क्या हो गया वो, literally everyone started jumping and throwing people down and burying them in the sand and whatnot. So after coming out from there, and I was thinking that in the spiritual world, the mood of service, why the gopas are actually having wrestling match with Krishna, so that they can give pleasure to Krishna. See, who can win over Krishna? Tell me. He is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is all powerful. But still, for that game and for that Leela, he loses. For what? And then these gopas also, they defeat him. And Krishna is feeling happiness. And when it comes to us, when we wrestle, when we play, what are we trying to do? To get happiness, to derive happiness. It's a very, very important thing to note that in the spiritual world, everyone is in the mood of service. How can I serve people around? How can I serve the Lord to give him the pleasure? In the material world, everyone has this only one mode. How can I get the happiness? Even at the cost of giving misery to other person. Tell me, is it right or wrong?
Yes.
Correct, no? Some people are not convinced, looks like. I was telling in one of the class that when it comes to this material world, every relationship is a relationship of exploitation, where it's natural. Every person is expecting something from each other. And then I was giving the example of so many examples I gave. I don't know, one lady I saw, she commented on YouTube, no, my relationship is a relationship of love and not exploitation. I was thinking, wait for some time, you'll get the answer in your relationship. And actually, it's a fact. Actually, it's a fact of this material world. It's a bitter truth, by the way. You accept or you don't accept. This is the bitter truth that doesn't matter which relationship that is on the material platform, by the way, is a relationship of exploitation where every person is not trying to exploit and derive. It might not be a very gross exploitation. It might be on a very subtle platform also. But then every person is just trying to extract some happiness, some enjoyment from the other person. This is a very, very important thing to note. So, in this way, we understand that if we get the mood of service even in this material world, we can convert this material world also into the spiritual world. What matters is attitude. Yes? What matters is attitude. So, we can analyze for ourselves how many times we are in the mood of service and how many times we are in the mood of enjoyment. How many times we are in the mood of extraction. In the spiritual world, Lord Krishna is a supreme person and he is serving his devotees because that is a natural quality of the spiritual realm. But when it comes to us in this material world, even a pauper wants to be the boss. Yes? The boss there wants to be the servant, and here the servant also wants to be the boss. That's the big difference that is there. So in bhakti, what happens is when we practice devotional service, when we chant Hare Krishna, when we attend these sessions, and when we're reading Gita, what happens is this artificial quality or attitude of exploitation and enjoyment gets cleansed away or removed, and the natural quality of service will manifest. That's why we see spiritualists are always happy because they are always in the mood of service. How can I serve you? How can I serve the Lord better? This is the mode that keeps the person in happiness. So these are the 5 opposite things in a reflection of this material world or this material world. So we discussed that how reflection is a temporary, how reflection is opposite. Yes. Now let's discuss about how it is appearing to be real but not actually real. There's a third one. How's the mango here? Huh? Nice, no? So material world is real. Objects of this material world are also real. See, I cannot say that this remote is not real. If I start giving such class, I will say, Prabhu ji ka kuch khisak gaya, niklo yahan se. So this is real. I'm holding it. This is real. Yes, the material world is real. The objects of the world are also real. So whatever you see are real. But you know what is not real? The promise of permanent happiness made in this world is not real. Like just imagine, no, you see nice mangoes kept, and then one of our devotees tell you, Proji, wo prasad dijiye aap jaake. Oh. And then you're very eager, you go and then, oh, such juicy mango, and then you pick it up. And then you put it in your mouth to realize it's made of rubber. Don't you think you'll take the same mango and hit that devotee? जिसने बोला आपको. So what is that? That's frustration. So basically, in this material world, there is over promise of happiness and there is under delivery of happiness. Over promise of happiness, under delivery of happiness. See, in this material world, there's so many advertisements, right? Every now and then they keep telling that you are lacking this, you get this, you'll become happy. मुझे अंडरवेयर के एडवर्टाइज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं. मतलब ऐसे दिखाते हैं जैसे अगर ये अंडरवेयर नहीं पहने आप, if you don't wear this underwear, the jockey or nothing. Yes. Because whenever I travel, the big boards which are put, banners, jockey or nothing. So if you don't wear this undergarment, कुछ नहीं हो सकता तुम्हारा. Yes. One of, I think, couple of years back, so I was asking, small kid, so we were just discussing something, and अचानक से underwear का कुछ तो बात निकला. He said, which brand do you wear? He said, Rupa Frontline. A small kid is saying. I said, why? Aram ka mamla. I really don't know what Aram is there. But then, see, the advertisements are so, so alluring. And the person will actually feel. If the person keeps seeing that advertisement again and again and again, he'll actually feel, agar ye nahi pehna, to actually life is nothing. But then we understand that, I just gave a trivial example. You can actually take big things of life where a big promise is made. And then when you actually endeavor for it and finally go close towards that and you realize, Arey, I got but very, very little. And then till the point you realize that you got cheated, the next 10 promises are ready. And the person is like, maybe from this angle I'll try. From that angle I'll try. It's all about jumping into that water. Another example, which is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is called as Punaha Charvita Charvananam. Punaha means again and again. Charvita Charvananam means chewing the chewed. Just imagine. Sugarcane, now the sugarcane season is going on. So how do they make juice of sugarcane? They put the sugarcane into that machine and then they remove from that side the remnants. They throw it. Again, they fold that and again put it. Some juice is still there. Again, they remove that and fold it into again more. And then again, they put it into that machine. They put that till the last drop comes out of that sugarcane. Correct? Then it is thrown. Now, a very intelligent person comes from there and he says, oh, sugarcane free mein pada hua hai yahan. He takes and then puts it into the mouth. And then, he's trying to get some sweetness, but he's not getting anything. He changes the angle. But nothing is happening. And then he throws it and he says, kuch nahi hai isme. And then there's extra smart, more intelligent person comes and he says, hey, tujhe pata nahi, main dikhata hu. He picks up the same thing which is already chewed. He takes up that and he chews. Nahi aa raha hai. Nahi aa raha. And then he tries all the angles. Again, he is also not getting. So the person is chewing the chewed. And every person in every generation thinks that usko nahi pata, mujhe pata hai. And they're chewing the same chewed thing to get what? To get the sweetness. Arey bhai, sab juice nikal gaya usme se. This is not realized. And till the point the person realizes that he has wasted time chewing the chewed, his life is over. his life is over. And the next, the person comes, again he takes and again starts chewing the chewed. And till he realizes that he has got cheated, his life is over. So this is what is the thing that happens. Exactly like the animals in the desert. When there is huge temperature in the desert, there's mirage that the animals see, and they keep burning their tongue again and again because they go and jump thinking it's a pond of water. They keep running because they can see water at so many places. And running like this, running around, many animals die. Many animals die. The promise is made, but then the delivery is not there. This is what is the material world all about. There's a nice video which actually talks about our endeavor to get happiness in this world. The promise is seen, it looks like real, but then when you go close to that, you actually don't get it. Look at this video. Okay. This what is our life. Anticipation, endeavor, and frustration. So this is exactly how our life is. Where till the last breath on the material platform, the person anticipates, endeavors. Frustration is okay. Did you see how much frustration this pig was having? But still, as soon as he sees the cookie, as soon as he says, okay, I can try from this angle, that angle, this angle, that angle. So this is what is, our life all about when it comes to this material world. Here, Krishna is making a very important point. Please repeat. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham mama vartamanu vartante manushyaha partha sarvashah. Someone read the translation.
As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Parth.
So here Krishna is saying that everyone follows me. Everyone is actually hankering for me. And that is actually the fact. The point is, all of us are looking for the Supreme Personality of God to connect with Him because we are His part and parcel. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, shloka number 7, he says, Mama ivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manasasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. Krishna is saying that every single living entity is my part and parcel. But what is currently the living entity is trying to do? Prakriti sthana karshati. He's struggling in this material world because that connection is missing now. So everyone is searching for that connection. But then when this people are there in the material world, what happens? Instead of getting connected with the Lord, they get connected to people in this world. And they are expecting, see, all of us, why are we expecting something from other people? Why? Because we feel they will give us that. They'll give us that fulfillment, they will give us that happiness. Because actually we are searching for a person who can actually give us that fulfillment and happiness. And the source, Shastras say, is the Lord, who can actually fulfill or give us that fulfillment and the ultimate permanent happiness. But then unfortunately we get stuck in this material world going around, round and round and round. Yes? Connecting with different people, extracting from them, enjoying, but nahi hota hai. Very difficult. So here very, very nicely we understand that we will get that permanent eternal happiness only when we get connected to that permanent source, and that is the Lord Himself. And the proof is everyone who comes to these sessions. Everyone who comes to this session, they do say many times that we are feeling that bliss, we are feeling that happiness, we are feeling the transformation. कुछ नया तो कर नहीं रहे आप लोग, क्या कर रहे हैं? बैठ के जप करते हैं हम लोग. You are hearing some pravachan, and then you're having some prasad, you dance on the tune of Mahamantra. You can do the same things outside also. Chant anything. No, chant, no, Tommy, 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 Tommy. And then you read some novels. Today I was seeing when I was going the flight, so I was sitting, and then front there was a person having a big book and it's full time reading. I slept yesterday night. We got up very early, 2 o'clock. So I slept. When I got up, still he was turning the page reading. So read it like that. But still, why people are not satisfied? And then having food, people keep going to this restaurant, this, that. No satisfaction. People go to parties, they dance so much and they get tired. But I see here when people come, even if the class extends, people are still looking like this. I hardly see anyone dozing off in the class and they, और क्या बोलने वाले टकलू. Yes, keep looking like this. And chanting, I've seen people relish so much. The chant, at least in the association of devotees, prasad. People having that fulfillment of the heart when they have prasad. Sometimes we have shortage of prasad because many people come without invitation. So it becomes very difficult for us to understand कि कितने लोग का प्रसाद बना है. Sometimes it's less. Even having little prasad, I have seen people are satisfied. And then they probably it's okay, bro, I'm full. Formality nahi kar. Actually, they feel satisfied. And after jumping so much in the kirtan, people should get tired. But there's a different energy altogether. So on Thursday in Vrindavan, we went for Govardhan Parikrama. That is 22 kilometers circumference of the mountain. 22 kilometers. So around 200 devotees did that. Parikrama. Old people couldn't do. So 200 devotees did that. So the legs were paining, no doubt. Their legs were paining, but they were so happy. They were saying, Bro, we are so happy. Maybe tomorrow once again we can try. So even after getting the tiredness in the body, where is that happiness coming from? Because here that connection gets established to the Lord in the form of the Mahamantra, in the form of His teachings, in the form of His prasad, in the form of His devotees. So that connection gets established, and that's the reason why we can feel that bliss that we are talking about. Yes. But then when we want to become the Lord, then it's the problem. When we want to imitate the Lord, then it's the problem. But when we are in the service mode, naturally it is so blissful. One of the turning point in my life was one of the yatras which I went. So we go for spiritual retreats. So we are planning for you all also the next spiritual retreat. The planning is started. So we'll inform you all when we are going next. So it was a long yatra, 10 days. We had gone to Mayapur and Jagannath Puri. So what happened in the train was I didn't have a ticket. I was a wild card entry. So some other devotee gave me his ticket. He slept down and he made me sleep on the bed. It was sleeper coach. So I was just thinking that how much service mode is there, and they were devotees equally tired, when they go for parikrama and all that. But then they are serving and they're so happy in serving prasad. And we were just seeing that how these people are happy by serving. And naturally in the material world, people like to take service. But जितना भी service लो कुछ happiness तो मिलता नहीं. Little bit they might get, but again, back to the same vicious cycle of anticipation, endeavor, and frustration. So in this way, we understand that how when we connect with the Lord through chanting of His holy names, by reading and understanding and implementing His teachings, by associating with devotees like this in satsang, having prasad and dancing and jumping in kirtan, the bliss is there on the spiritual platform. So I discussed three till now. The first one was temporary, how this material world is temporary. Second, its opposite, we discussed elaborately on that. And then A, it appears to be real, but it's not real. And then, what is not real? No, material world is real.
Happiness that is expected.
The promise of the happiness is not real. Yes? नहीं तो फिर लोग बोलेंगे ये तो सब मिथ्या है पूरा दुनिया no, it's not mithya, it is real, but then the promise of happiness is actually mithya. This is not real. And the last one, that is D, that is dependent on reality. See, the fact that this material world is existing, the fact that we have relationship amongst each other here, the fact that everyone is searching for happiness goes on to say that there should be some real happiness somewhere. Like, for example, a person who has come across, who has witnessed a snake's lila live with him. Yes. Just imagine you're sleeping and then a snake goes above you. And then you open your eyes and then you see a cobra just going. And you cannot do anything, you're just there. You're just there. Now, next time, what happens? When when it is dark and there is a rope that his feet touches, what happens? The person will run away from there. Why? Because he knows snake. So what is the analogy basically? What is the understanding? That he's able to perceive the rope to be a real snake. Why? Because there is existence of snake. The experience he had got of that. So he's feeling this rope is also a snake. Similarly, we have the experience of the eternal permanent happiness of the spiritual world. And now in the material world, we are searching for the same. So if you're searching here, if we are trying to experience here, we have to understand the real thing is there somewhere. That's the fact. So the reflection is dependent on the reality. So this material world is dependent on the spiritual world. That is the point that is made here. The true mango exists. The reflection mango exists. It means true mango is also existent somewhere. And whatever is highest in spiritual world becomes lowest in the material world because it's a reflection, no? So highest in spiritual world is service, love towards the Lord. That becomes the lowest. And the lowest in the material spiritual world is enjoyment for one's own self, that is called as lust. And that becomes the highest in this material world. Sometimes people ask, why is it that the sex desire is so strong in this material world? Why? Because that is the lowest in the spiritual world. And when that gets reflected, it becomes the topmost. It becomes the topmost. So it is very strong also. So in this way, we understand ulta. And the pure love, many times people say, I think 2019, I was taking a Gita course here. So it was a mixed crowd of men and Matajis and Prabhujis, and kids were also there. So something I spoke about love of the Lord and his devotees, love of Radha and Krishna. So I spoke about that. Then one girl messaged me that Prabhuji, I'm trying to experience that love with my boyfriend, but I'm not able to. मैं बोला तूने यही परपट लिया मेरे क्लास से what I spoke and what you took. Yes. And it's not possible. Don't try to experiment. I'm sure already some people might be experimenting. Yes. But the fact is that there is no true love between two entities existing in this material world. It's a bitter truth. बोलते हैं ना जब काम से काम है, actually काम से काम है. I want to enjoy you and you also want to enjoy me. That's the mood of this material world. Shastras say that the closest thing that can come to the pure love aspect is mother's love for the newborn baby, not the elder one also. Elder one के साथ भी expectation होता है ना. See, newborn baby, when the baby is crying, now there is no expectation of the mother as such. So she'll just get up, sacrifice her sleep, and feed the baby. Correct? With time, maybe the mothers will also have some expectation from the kids. But the pure love, it is described, the closest to the pure love that exists between the devotees and the Lord is the mother's love towards the newborn baby. So actually, there is no pure love as such, that is there because that service aspect is missing in this material world. And that service aspect manifests when a person continues practicing bhakti or spirituality consistently. Consistently. So this is about TOAD, that is temporary, opposite, appears to be real but not, and dependent on the reality. The next one, now rest are very, very short ones, and I'll just cover it in next 15 minutes. Now, this entire tree Krishna is speaking about in 15th chapter, shloka number 1 to 4. He's saying roots are up and the branches are down. We understood reflection part. Now he also speaks about the tips, leaves, and twigs. So there are branches, there are twigs. So there is the trunk and the twigs which are coming out, the branches which are coming out. There is the point, which is connecting both of them, right? The trunk and the branch. That is the tip that we're talking about. Then there's a twig and the leaves to it. So here it is compared to, the tips are compared to the senses and the twigs are compared to the sense objects. Senses and the sense objects. थोड़ा सुनिए ठीक से, थोड़ा complicated. So senses, our eyes, nose, etc., etc. Senses. Sense objects are what? For eyes, what is the sense object? Vision. Correct? For nose? Smell. So like this, etc. You can understand. So now whenever the eyes come in contact, with some nice sense object, some nice vision, so we might feel it is giving some pleasure. But then the same thing actually turns out to be misery later. Like for example, this is observed, in the buffet system when we have, एक बार pay करो unlimited. Now at times, we have seen people have stomach upset, but अभी pay किया है ना, पैसा वसूल कैसे करे? And then put so much and eat. Now what happens after that? Stomach upset. The person is miserable. He got sense, that is tongue, sense object, the food, came in touch with each other. But then after some time, it actually went on to give misery. So to be very frank, again the point is getting repeated. On the material platform, kuch bhi kar lo, finally end is misery. But then many times people ask us, we want to read Vedas. Krishna himself is telling in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, shloka number 45. Traigunyo Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvasto Niryogakshemam Atmavan. He's saying that give up this conception that is given in Vedas. Because 90% of the Vedic scriptures, they actually talk about how to do better sense gratification in this material world. Why are they talking? Because people are expecting. So people are expecting, so Vyasdeva has given. 90% of it. Only 10% of it actually talks about how to break the cycle of birth and death and get onto the spiritual platform. And only on the spiritual platform, the person can actually be happy. Otherwise, it's not possible. So these leaves which are there, these leaves are talking about those Vedic hymns which are giving more aspiration to do better sense gratification, to settle in this world. So here it is said, Alright, Baba, don't go towards the leaves. Go towards the root. Go towards the root. Don't go towards the leaf. Hmm? Going towards the root is going deep in spirituality. That's what we can understand. The next part is branches. So the branches going upwards also, the branches going downwards also. So what does that mean? When a person does pious activities, he enjoys higher sense objects. Hmm? When a person is doing sinful activities, he has to suffer or get a lower form of life like animals. We have discussed this in the karma section, right? So now you see the sense objects are becoming higher and lower, but the experience that the person is getting is actually the same. Like, for example, now I don't know what is the menu in today's prasadam, yes, but still, we'll assume. Say, there's a sweet that is there, say a rasgulla. Nahi, halwa lete, halwa. Yes. So, nice halwa made up of ghee. It has got pieces of pineapple in that, and then some cashew nuts, and इससे ज़्यादा नहीं बोलूंगा. And then that is served, and then the mouth is watering, correct? And then the person is eating, and he's eating, nicely enjoying. Now this is what we are enjoying: halwa, ghee, and all that. Now when it comes to hog is looking at a stool. Yes, hog, pigs, they're looking at stool, potty, and they're also having same mood. Oh, mouth watering. Now see, two personalities, mouth watering, but the objects of the sense objects are different. Hmm? Now here we understand the forms of life are different, sense objects are different, but finally the experience that both of them are getting is actually the same. Both of them want to eat, stomach is going to get full, right? So one thing that is very important to understand is in this material world we shouldn't hanker for higher and higher sense objects. Finally experience the same ही होने वाला है. Yes. So a person has to expect a higher or to go higher in one's consciousness level, not higher in terms of material luxury and things like that. Is finally it's going to be the same. Like for example, a person who is very rich, lot of money, and lot of disease also. So bichara diet pe, only salads and soup and this and that. Yes. And a person who is middle class or whatever, nicely is eating 4 or 5 chapatis dipped in ghee and this and that, and he is also happy. So finally, both are doing what? Filling the stomach only, no? So why endeavor so much in the material world to get something material? Which is anyways temporary. So important is, by these branches we can understand. Important is that better go towards the root, better go deeper in spiritual life than getting into all this. Sub roots. अभी branches का बात कर ले. Sub roots which are coming from the top, banyan tree. So sub roots, what happens is whatever activities we are doing, every single day, they're actually binding us in this material world. Every activity, material activity. Either it leads to attachment or towards aversion. Attachment or hatred. Suffering or enjoyment. This is what is happening. And these subroots makes our position very strong in the material world. Either we are attached to something, or we are averse to something, and that thought is there in the mind. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Hare. आप लोग के चैंटिंग में पावर है वो. Yes. Your chanting switches on the generator. It's like, so both attachment and aversion, that thought that is there in the mind, you know what happens? Because of that, the person stays back in this material world successfully. Lifetime after lifetime. So it's a very important thing to note. Many times, people. Okay. I will chant the shloka and I'll explain more. Please repeat. इच्छाद्वेष समुत्थेन द्वन्द्वमोहेन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहम् सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप. Someone read the translation.
O Shrine of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, All living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate.
So any activity that we do, these two things will happen. One is attachment, ichha or desire, and second one is aversion or hatred that is there. So anything that we strongly get attached or strongly hate, that will remain in our mind. Yes, that's what we will remember while dying, and that's what will become in next life. So therefore, when the ones who become monks, so when we train them, so we tell that it's not that you're supposed to hate the opposite gender, and obviously there's no question of love also. Yes. So if you hate, so what happens? The thought process is there, strong impressions are there. At the time of death, you remember that person whom you hate and become that in next life. Just imagine a monk becoming, a female next life. So there's no question of hate or there's no question of strong attachment. But then you know what? Every single activity that we do that leads to this, isn't that a very big thing? Any activity that you analyze for yourself, थोड़ा सा attachment या फिर aversion. And if it's a very intense activity, a lot of attachment and a lot of aversion. Any activity you can analyze for yourself. I'm opening this ground for yourself to analyze, how much. So now the question is, if this attachment and aversion are keeping us in the material world, तो क्या करें फिर निकलने के लिए? And Krishna speaks about that. He says, cutting the tree of illusion. बस कट कर दो ट्री को. How? With a sword of detachment. Now let's try to understand the statement. So the best way is to cut down the tree, because there's no tree, there are no subroots, there are no twigs and branches and this and that. And situate ourselves in the original spiritual tree, that is bhakti. Now see, we're talking about this reflection, right? So we understand a tree on the banks of the river or pond gets reflected on the water. But tell me, this material world, if we're calling it as a reflection, it is reflected on what?
Mind.
Amazing. It's reflected on the mind, which is the source of all the desires. This material world is nothing but a reflection which is there on the mind. So mind is that medium. So when the mind gets disturbed, all the problem comes. When the mind gets settled, again the anticipation. Nice to note this. Yes. And what is actually giving the power or the strength to this tree? Normal trees, you put water, that will give strength. This material world, the strength that is given to this tree of illusion is the three modes of material nature: Sattva gun, Rajogun, and Tamagun. Level 1, this happened: Sattva gun, Rajogun, Tamagun. Level 1. Which session was the last session? Before that? Wrong question.
Three moods are there: passion, ignorance, and goodness.
हो गया वो? Okay. So anyways, हो जाएगा. So there the more description will come. So I'll not get into this. It's a huge topic for 2 hours. So mode of goodness, Sattva gun, Rajogun, and Tamagun. That actually waters this tree, because the mind gets affected by these three: Sattva gun, Rajogun, and Tamagun. So now, what is this detachment aspect that is there? Weapon of detachment, Krishna calls, in shloka number 3 and 4 of this chapter 15 that we're discussing. What is this detachment all about? See, we have to understand one thing. Bhakti is not about detachment. Bhakti is about attachment. Yes? To get detached from the matter is very difficult. But to get attached to something spiritual is easy. So when we spend more time doing these spiritual activities, naturally we get attached to the Lord. And detachment is just a byproduct. But then many times what happens is people feel detachment is what has to be focused on. No. When we get attached to the Lord, we get higher taste in the spiritual life. Automatically the lower ones will go away. How is it that so many of you have given us your own testimonies that I gave up alcohol, I was addicted to cigarettes, I gave up that. I never speak about giving up all this in my classes anytime. I never spoken about this. I never spoke about meat eating also. I have to give up meat eating. I never speak all that. So, but still, and even pornography and this and that, hardly we say that you should give it up. But how is it that people are able to give up in no time? How? See, without something higher, how can a person give up the lower things? So here, when people are getting that higher taste, when their consciousness is getting elevated with time, automatically lower things are given up, easily given up. When Srila Prabhupada went to West, when he gave that higher aspect of Krishna consciousness to people, the Mahamantra, the Bhagavad Gita, and the process, these people were drug addicts, women monglers. They became very, very pure. They became very, very pure. So the higher taste, the higher aspect is something that is given by spirituality. And naturally, the detachment takes place. So there's no tension. Once what happened is one boy came to a session, and then after that he stopped. Then our volunteers called, no? So he was called and he was asked, no, why you're not coming? नहीं नहीं मैं पीना छोड़ दूंगा. बोले नहीं तू पीते रहे, कौन मना कर रहा है तुझे? You come for the session. नहीं नहीं मुझे गर्लफ्रेंड भी छोड़ दूंगा मैं. अरे ये तू किसने बोला तुझे छोड़ने के लिए? It's your personal life, do whatever you want. नहीं नहीं सब पता है. इधर जाने के बाद कुछ तो हो जाता है और छूट जाता है ये सब. My God. I saw one video where one person got up. It's a huge auditorium. Amoglia Prabhu was giving class, one of the speakers in ISKCON. So that person got up and he said, तुम लोग के वजह से हमारा क्रोध कम हो गया है और anger has reduced. Even now when I want to become angry, I'm not able to become. It's only because of all of you. No, it was such a nice point, no? Such a nice point. So Prabhuji was clapping and he said, very nice. We are successful then. The point is, the process is very, very beautiful and amazing. Because what happens is naturally the person gets higher taste. So morning 11 o'clock, we have sessions for girls. So there also the same input is there, or same realization is there, that how naturally the negatives go away and the life is filled with positives. So therefore, the cutting the tree of illusion is not about detachment, just detachment. It's about attachment to the process, attachment or getting the higher taste in spiritual life. Is that clear? And the final thing which Krishna is talking about is surrender. Please repeat. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha. Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha. Dvandvair vimuktaha sukha dukkha sangyer. Gacchantya modaha padamavyayam tad. Someone read the.
Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal peace.
Yes. So these are the few things which are there, which will naturally come with the practice of spirituality. Everyday mantra meditation, reading of Bhagavad Gita and implementing the principles, and not missing the satsang that happens every single Saturday evening, for all the youth boys. So these are three things when someone does every single day, regularly, these will automatically manifest. First one, free from false prestige. People of this world are struggling because of this, If someone is not respected in some assembly, they go so mad. I went to that place, hello bhi nahi bola. And when people come to our association with the same mentality, Prabhuji, I came to the session and none of the volunteers said Hare Krishna to me. I'm not coming. अरे भाई वो सब बाहर छोड़ के आओ. Yes, free from false prestige, वो निकल जाता है because we understand कुछ है नहीं. Prestige किस बात का? No, I'm actually nothing. I'm dependent on so many factors in my life. The pride goes down automatically with the practice of bhakti. First one. Second, illusion and false association. The person is not in illusion now. Shashwat Sukh in Dukhalayam Ashashwat is clear, is free from illusion. And then he understands what is eternal and what is temporary. And then material lust, the tendency to enjoy, That goes down. The person comes into service mode and are freed from dualities of happiness and distress. Can you imagine if we get this mood or get this quality of being stable, both in happiness and distress? Don't you think you'll become a magnetic personality? Everyone likes such stable people in life. Everyone likes. Be it in corporate, be it in spiritual life, be it anywhere. Stable people are the ones who are actually given a lot of awe and reverence. They treat people, the people are treating them with awe and reverence. This automatically comes with spiritual life. And then unbewildered. They're always clear with what has to be done next. That's the power of spirituality. That gives clarity. And such a person knows how to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the spiritual practice. So this process is very simple, but our complicated mind makes it complicated. Only what are we supposed to do? Chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, read Bhagavad Gita, implement principles in life, attend satsang. What are you people doing in satsang? Just sitting and hearing only. Yes, getting enlightened in the festival of enlightenment and having prasad dancing. What is there in this? Process is very simple, but then extra dimag lage usko kharab kar dete hain. Yes, if we keep it simple, all these things will automatically manifest. So we've discussed these different points. Maybe after a few months, when you come to 15th chapter, when you yourself will read, you'll surely remember this, what we discussed. With these 4 to 5 verses that we discussed today, they are the complicated verses and very difficult to understand. So we tried our best to make it simple. Any questions? Huh.
So like you said, right, that as we experience spirituality, we get a higher test, right, and then we automatically get detached from. I can personally see it on myself that I mean what I experienced, let's say in Tirupati, right? I have never experienced such a thing, and now I mean being associated with this con for like some months, right? I've given up on meat eating. It's not that I mean I tried to do that. Is that I mean biryani was my favorite. Now I mean I don't even eat meat, right? But what I'm trying to understand is, I mean, I can see it happening on me, but what I'm trying to understand is why is. I mean, can you let's say if you grow a sunflower, like you water it, you can explain that because of chlorophyll or some sunlight, this nutrients is coming up and it is happening. Can you explain the science behind it? Why is
Okay.
it?
So his question is, what is the science behind this transformation that is happening? See, naturally, all of us, we are the servants of the Lord. Service mode is naturally there. All the wonderful qualities are naturally there. But then that consciousness, the pure consciousness, is now covered with a very, very thick layer of sense gratification tendency, the mood of enjoyment, the mood of exploitation, the thick lust, what to say, covering is there now on the consciousness. Lust is a common word to sense gratification, enjoyment, exploitation, and all that. Now, what happens, with the spiritual practice? Now, you take up any negative activity that is there in this material world, now, be it illicit sex, changing the partner every night, or be it meat eating, that's killing an animal, or be it intoxication, harming one's own self, or whatever it is. If you take any of it, everyone knows, it's not proper, it's negative, because everyone experiences that negativity. But then what happens is that the covering is so thick that they're not able to give it up. But then with time, what happens is, with the spiritual practice, when the covering is removed, what is happening here basically? The covering gets removed. That is a scientific thing that is happening without our notice. The covering is getting removed. Like when we water the plant, as you said. So what is happening? The internal process is happening, water for photosynthesis, etc., and then it's growing. Similarly, this process when we are following, the covering is getting removed slowly and steadily, and naturally, our natural qualities will manifest. The natural quality of service will manifest. The natural quality of humility will manifest. The natural quality of tolerance will manifest. So all these qualities will naturally manifest with time. And since we as spirit soul, we are already enlightened, but that is covered. So when that covering is removed, naturally the spirit soul is enlightened. And with that enlightenment, the person is able to see things in the right perspective. And because of that, all this transformation takes place. So it's internal. It's internal. Answers your question?
Why Lord has created this Maya?
Because we want it. Yes, we want someone special in our life. Without a how, just giving a trivial example. See, we wanted to enjoy, so we are here. ऐसा नहीं है कि I was like, I wanted to serve only, but still I've been put here in Maya. I said, "Kuch nahi. I want to enjoy, so I'm put in illusion. And when I put in illusion, very nice concept, please hear this carefully. When I put in illusion, what am I thinking? I am the master. Correct? I am the master. So everything else is meant for my enjoyment. So we have come to this material world to enjoy. Because we wanted to enjoy. Krishna has created this material world. He has said, okay, jao khelo. Go. I don't know if I gave this example in this forum. So, say a small girl wants to cook. She goes to mother and she's like, Mama, I also want to cook. Now she cannot play with fire. 3 year old, 4 year old, she cannot play with fire. Mother will say, no, 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 no. So she'll give her nice pink kitchen set. Yes. You might have seen girls, small girls and boys, they keep playing, keep cooking all together. No, full day they keep cooking. Yes. Now, the mother has given that and they're fully engrossed, very serious. See, their cooking is not time pass, they're very serious when they're cooking. And they'll give you also to eat and drink. And if you say that nothing is there, they'll cry. Huh? You have to act that you're drinking tea or eating or whatever. So they're very serious about it. But then when they're hungry, they'll go to Mummy, bhook laga hai. The mother will say, from 3 hours you're cooking. Eat what you've cooked. No, 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 I want to eat what you have cooked. So, same thing. Krishna, I also want to become you. Arey bhai, how can you become me? No, you'll not be able to manage this world. It will be difficult. No, 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 I also want to. I also want to become master. कितने टाइम तक मैं servant बना रहा हूँ? Okay, no problem. He made this pink kitchen set for us. चलो जाओ cooking करो. And everyone is very seriously cooking in this material world. Do you agree? Everyone. किसी को भी पकड़िए, everyone is serious. And then full life cooking चलता है. Only when they start reading Gita, only when they start coming to such sessions, what happens? The person understands, I cannot eat what I have cooked. And they turn towards the Lord, that I want to come back to you and I want to eat what you have cooked, or I want to serve you. So in that way. So we've had the tendency to enjoy. So we are here. And actually the fact is we cannot become masters. We cannot enjoy. We are servants, and when we take the position of servants, we will be happy. But if we remain in the position of master artificially, we cannot be happy. Not possible. Employees are happy in the office. Managers are no going tough time managing them. You can just compare like that. Anything else?
Prabhuji, Krishna Bhakti is very wonderful thing we enjoy. So if we want our family also enjoy the same, and when we discuss, they didn't believe that's
Correct.
not believe why we take. So, but we need some association. At the end, we get this association always like ISKCON members and family member or other friends circle at the main. So how can we influence them or
See, family members and friends, no. They have seen us doing all kachara activities. Correct? अचानक से माला पकड़ लिया and we start giving them प्रवचन. अरे चल चल देखा है तूने क्या क्या किया. हाँ चल चल. Now those parents on whose lap we have shit and passed urine, and we are giving them pravachan. Why will they listen? So I never preached to my parents. Only in between I keep telling you will die very soon. Shan't. Sometimes I do say that. Yes. I don't preach much to family members. Now see, most of you will get married. Only maybe few might be interested to become a monk. But most 99% of people will get married. So when you're getting married, you should make sure you marry a devotee, a girl who's already practicing bhakti. Then you have association of a devotee at home. And then both husband, wife, and your devotees, when you beget kids, so you train the kid in devotional service right from childhood. The entire family is devotees. Then it's easy to practice. Just imagine, you are a material, sorry, you are a devotee, and your wife is a kitty party lady. Yes, beauty parlor, kitty party. Now just imagine, you say, "Chalo satsang mein jate hain." You drop me to theater, I'll go there, you go there. Then again, you come and pick me, we'll go together to a restaurant and eat because I'm not going to cook. So it's very important. Now the next choices that we make, has to be made very nicely. We should marry a devotee. We should find out a devotee. We have that forum in ISKCON. We have marriage bureaus, which is there. But then you also should be qualified, right? You should be chanting good number of rounds. Because the devotee girl will have a good expectation. कि मेरा husband अच्छा होना चाहिए, he should be nice devotee, this and that. So we should also elevate ourselves in Krishna consciousness. It is said a husband should be higher, a male should be higher in spiritual consciousness than female. Because it said, no, husband should protect the wife. Physically, it's understood, but it is actually spoken spiritually in Shastra. Spiritually, they have to protect. Spiritually, they have to facilitate, give facilities to practice bhakti. So we can do that. घर वालों को तो मुश्किल ही है थोड़ा. So we can connect them to some other person some other devotee who can preach to them, but we cannot preach. Friends to bhul jao. Friends to bhul jao. Only when someone is really going through a tough phase of life, no, at that time we can actually tell. Then we can tell them this process, तभी accept करेंगे. But when everything is going well in life, and if you tell them, तू अपना काम कर, तेरा breakup हुआ है, मेरा नहीं. तू कर अपना जो करना है. When I joined monkhood, so seriously one person, no, some boys came and some people came and they were asking, आपका relationship था क्या किसी के साथ? आपको job से निकाल दिया गया? क्या हुआ? कोई मर गया आपके family में? So that's what people think, That's what people think. Okay, someone else. Yeah.
Why maximum times it happens like the person who plants the seed don't get to eat the fruit?
Simple karma, no? दाने दाने पे लिखा है खाने वालों का नाम. That's what in Hindi they say. So the point is that depending on the pious and sinful credits that we have, based on that we're going to enjoy or suffer. So in level 2 sessions, we have a topic called karma in depth. There we discuss about prarabdha karma, aprarabdha karma. So there it will be more clear. But the answer is karma. Answer is karma.
Prabhuji, Vedas have 90% of things related to enjoyment. Then why Vedas wrote about Vedas, and is it the way to enjoyment?
Correct. See, even how to enjoy in this material world is already given to us. So that when we enjoy like that, with whatever restriction is, like for example, marriage. Now, every person might have the sexual tendency that is there. So yes, you can have sex in marriage life, not in live-in relationship, what people are doing nowadays. So, and that too with a higher perspective, with a higher goal of begetting a kid, to take care of the kid, to take the responsibility. So Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita that kama viruddha bhuteshu, dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshama. 7th chapter, Krishna is saying this. He says that, I'm just giving one example, you can extrapolate to yourself. That this activity of sex that is there, it's me, if it is there in the boundaries of dharma. So now natural tendency is there in the body to enjoy. So that, how to do that Vyasdev has given. But when the person is frustrated with this understanding of no possible enjoyment in this material world, not possible, then he comes to that 10% of it. That is Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is not meant for anyone and everyone. Sometimes people say, "Nahi, maza nahi aata ye sab mein." Tujhe nahi aayega maza. Because your consciousness is not on that level, not possible. So all of you sitting here and nodding your heads and enjoying the class from last 1 hour 43 minutes, it's only because you have that taste for it, because you have spiritual credits from your past life. Therefore, you're able to understand and enjoy. But other people will not be able to, right? So the point is that Vyasdev gave all this so that we enjoy in authentic manner, not get into some nonsense and commit sinful activities. Because sinful activities will go down, to the hellish planets. At least enjoyment through this pious ways, which is given by Vyasadeva, the person will remain, in his status quo, maintain status quo. That will happen. Okay.
We know that Vyasdev gave us some rules and regulations, but we don't know what are those rules and regulations.
Yeah, people don't have time to read. That's why we have these sessions, where just in 1.5 hour we give everything of that chapter, and the people understand. Oh, okay, good, got it. Yeah. That's why it is said, we have to read, we have to attend the satsang, then we'll understand. Or else, many of the times we're in darkness, we'll not know only. We'll not know at all. Yeah. We'll not distribute beats, we'll just start chanting. You all can get up and stretch your legs and sit down. We'll do mantra meditation now.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,